So for my So I wanted to discuss the future of fertility because there's some really interesting things happening in this field right now. So before we touch on the advances that have already been made and the future of fertility treatments, it's imperative to touch on the history. Only then is it truly revolutionary how far fertility treatments have come. Prior to IVF, which is in vitro fertilization, there were marketed prescriptions to regulate menstruation cycles in women, as this was a marker for optimal fertilization. The most utilized medication to regulate cycles was called Clomid. This is still widely used today. Following Clomid was in vitro fertilization, IVF. The first successful IVF birth took place in Britain in 1978, and her name is Louise Joy Brown. Even following this breakthrough, IVF success rate still hovered at only around 5%. In order to improve the assisted birth rates, a research team at UCLA began exploring alternative treatments. In bovine medicine, uterine lavages were employed to flush out embryos. The embryos were then transferred to a surrogate and then artificially inseminated. The first successful birth via embryo transfer by way of lavage was in 1984. However, due to the HIV and AIDS crisis, this method was largely abandoned and has only recently started being utilized once again. Per Planned Parenthood, the two most widely used fertility treatments are intrauterine insemination, or artificial insemination, in which the healthy sperm is collected and inserted directly into the uterus during ovulation, and in vitro fertilization, which is IVF. This is the process in which eggs are taken from the ovaries and fertilized by sperm in a lab, where they develop into embryos. Then a doctor puts the embryos into your uterus. In addition to fertilization and insemination, there are a plethora of at-home treatment options. While fertility has seen vast improvement over the last 40 years, there's still much left to be desired in the success rate. As of right now, the rate of birth success hovers at about 25%. Mojo Technology, a fertility startup, believes that by the year 2030, they will be able to have increased the success rate to 75%. Through AI and robotics, the team at Mojo believes they can bring additional precision to the qualitative analysis of eggs and sperm. Mohammed Taha, a co-founder of Mojo, was inspired to become invested in the fertility field after his own experience going through the fertility process with his wife. His greatest issue was that his sperm count and quality was never consistent. Taha made the move to invest his doctorate in nanotechnology to the field of AI. It is still common practice to assess egg and sperm quality by hand. In short, a lot of AI is still managed randomly. Genetic selection has also received a lot of attention. In Jordan, a woman who had conceived multiple times had lost each baby in utero due to Lee syndrome, of which she was a carrier. Using spliced DNA from a donor egg, the impaired mitochondria was able to be repaired, resulting in a healthy baby. Essentially, this means that this baby had 3 sets of DNA, one from the mother, one from the father, and one from the donor. With this science now becoming successful, it will be interesting to see how many more people will be more apt to have their own children. CSF reports that same-sex couples having genetically related children is probably on the horizon. Scientists are learning how to take skin cells or blood cells and turn them into stem cells, which can then be turned into eggs or sperm. This is emerging data. This isn't fake. This isn't science fiction. This is happening now. We just haven't seen any successful births from this yet. So it'll be really interesting to see when this starts taking ground. Additionally, we're starting to see some interesting things in specific selections, such as gender and eye color. Chrissy Teigen, who is a celebrity and former model, she chose gender selection. This is still highly controversial, and she has actually caught a lot of heat for being so open about it. But she is an example of someone who has used gender selection, and it works. The new wave of fertility treatment is here and in the home. I have personally been bombarded with fertility ads on Facebook, which is how my interest was piqued regarding current fertility treatments. Though prenatals are not a new item, the market has seen a facelift in marketing and branding strategies. Additionally, men are being targeted. Supplements are becoming available for male production as well. What's more interesting are the fertility gadgets that are available for in home use. It has become easier than ever to test and track fertility and ovulation. And here are a few of the items on the market now. These are actually screenshots that I've taken from my phone that have popped up on Facebook. I don't even know why they have popped up on my Facebook. But these are like really interesting gadgets. This one with the wands is really interesting. This is to be used intraorally and intravaginally to track fertilization. And it has a pretty hefty price tag of about $260. However, that's probably a lot cheaper than going into clinics every month. So I'm really interesting what is becoming available at home. And I think when we start discussing robotics taking over some jobs, I think it's important to review the implications. So when I initially began seeing the ads for in-home fertility treatments, my initial thought was, what are the implications for fertility doctors? Dr. Zaninovich states in Time Magazine's article AI Today and Tomorrow that she is confident that fertility doctors will not be displaced due to more technological approaches. However, in my opinion, it must be considered that some staffing in this field will suffer. With less work being done in clinics and offices, the need for staff will begin to lessen. This is a trend that we can just see in all fields. Additionally, the population numbers must be considered. Advances in medicine and technology are extending life and helping to create it. This directly impacts the replacement rate. For the purpose of this study, my primary focus was on the United States, as this is most relevant to our class, and it is a developed country with several medical advances. CNN reports overall the total fertility rate for the United States in 2017 was 1,765.5 per 1,000 women, which was 16% below what is considered the level needed for a population to replace itself. 2,100 births per 1,000 women, according to the report. Also, based on the data from the National Center for Health Statistics released last year, about 3,853,472 babies were born nationally in 2017, the lowest number of births in 30 years, and down from a 2007 record high of 4,316,233. One explanation for the decline in the population is that couples have more control in reproduction. This suggests that fewer people are choosing to have children. It'll be super interesting to see as fertility begins to change and evolve in groundbreaking ways, how the projection for population will change. I personally think that it probably will. So anyway, that concludes this presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. All right, thanks you guys.